Hey, welcome back. You're on with two Mikes, Dr. Michael Scheuer and Colonel Mike. And we got a great wrap up for the end of the week. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody enjoyed the turkey yesterday. If you were in Cuba, you got the bones and a chicken neck. And that's what they want. AOC, Democrats, the squid. They all want you to eat chicken bones, just like Venezuela and Cuba. So today we want to welcome back our favorite guest. Probably the most, I don't know how many visits he's done now since 2020, but he's the most popular one, that's for sure. Gerald McInerney, welcome back, and we hope your family had a great Thanksgiving.
We did, Colonel Mike and Dr. Mike. I'm honored to be back with you, and I've got some very important information that I want to talk about and discuss with you. I think you all are intimately familiar, won't be surprised, except it's now being documented. In which I'd like to start off and say, my good friend General Paul Vallely sent me, and I sent to you all, a chapter called 2 of a book that's about to come out that is labeled Shadow Government. And in this article, or in this chapter, it lays out exactly what is transpiring in America today, combined with what information we know. We know COVID-19 was a deliberate biological attack on not only the United States, but on the world. We know that the election in 2020 was stolen using massive cyber warfare, and that the Democratic Party has done everything they can to ensure that none of the state audits are completed. Now, you would think if Biden won by 80 million votes, that they would want and demand absolute audits from every state for bragging rights. Instead, we've gotten thousands of lawyers, people destroying evidence. It comes out every day what is going on to prevent the audits in the 6 battleground states. So I think that's extremely important. They have thwarted Mike Lindell, MyPillow CEO. And the reason they have is because they know they stole the election with the Chinese foreign agents assisting them with, no one is disputing that COVID-19 did not come from China, although we now know that it came from some labs in the United States with funding, gain of function by our own CDC and NIH and Dr. Fauci, Dr. Evil. But what I'm leading into now is on the shadow government. It names them in this chapter. It starts out with George Soros, which we have identified clearly because of all the things that he's done to try to destroy our Constitution. But the important names, I think, and these are American, they're foreign, and they've been going for quite some time, but is Obama leading this. And we've known that Biden's administration, and that's why we call it O'Biden, has been a puppet administration. He takes his orders from somebody. It identifies that Obama is the man pulling the strings, the puppet master. You've got Jeff Bezos from Amazon. You've got Zuckerberg. You've got other of these billionaires that got their wealth that want to have a global government. And it goes back many years before these people got their money, and even before Obama had his first 8 years in office. He's now going on his second 4. But, and that's why when we talked about he being the first president to not leave Washington, he moved 1.5 miles to Kalorama, and he's got a skiff, a secret compartmented facility that intelligence facility in his basement. So all this is coming together, and the American people have got to know about it. Now, the top of the front page of the Washington Times today was talking about the manpower shortage and people not going back to work and the supply chain. And the reason this is important, this is their intent to create this new world order. And when you hear the new world order, think automatically Build Back Better or the Great Reset or globalism. All these things are linked together. And it's their desire to make sure that America becomes a communist society. And they don't say that, they talk about socialism. But getting back to the headlines in the Washington Times talking about the difficulty of getting manpower, because the Build Back Better that the Obama people or Biden people have put in is paying people not to work. They want the future. They do not want any private ownership. They want the future, everybody to depend upon the government. And that way they'll be satisfied, and the elites that we're talking about, will have all this wealth. They're going to take over the banks, take over retirement funds, all our savings, this type thing. And so that's why they're fighting so hard for this Build Back Better, this $1.7 trillion follow-on that the group of four has been pushing so hard, and the socialists and Bernie have all been pushing for. This is communism. And so anybody who has voted, we had 10 Republicans, as I recall, 10 or 13, that voted for the first bill to go through on infrastructure. That is all a sham, because they have all these other socialist programs that are driving people not to go back to work because they're getting paid by the government.
Well, General, let me interrupt 1 second, sir,
Yeah.
because you just said a mouthful. The 1.7, there was a government agency said that it probably will be closer to 4.3 when it's all said and done. And all of these little ancillary, like it may say, okay, Build Back Better farmers, and then the subchapter will be, green energy, what do you call it? Free education for pre-kindergarten, stay-at-home moms. What they've done, even during the first CARES Act, was build this, in my opinion, they built the states up very hefty with money, and the towns and the counties. Just broadband alone, if you look at the number of what they allocated per state for broadband, it'll knock your socks off. That's the laundromat. The word is called, in quotation marks, broadband. Okay. And they were sold like, well, we could use this for medical kind of internet if you don't want to go to the doctor. It's a slush fund. This whole thing is a slush fund. It's just washing around. I think Virginia alone has like 500 billion surplus or something like that. Crazy money, and other states. So it's absolute. What you're saying is spot on again, because all of these things have little programs underneath them, which you say to yourself, like, what is this? Is this the squid, not the squad? Is this the squid request? I mean, they've bought off everyone, top to bottom, states, counties, cities, whatever. And everybody's getting tons of money off this.
Exactly. And so now you have just brought this all together, Colonel Mike, and seeing that everything they are doing, from even the accident up there during the Christmas Day parade in Wisconsin, all this is linked. And they're throwing in the open borders, they're throwing in the hyperinflation, they're throwing in the cancellation of XL pipeline in our energy sector to put people out of work, to make them dependent upon the government. And then they're throwing dollars at the different state governments and everybody, and for different reasons, they are voting for this. But they are complicit in this treasonous activity to destroy our Constitution and the American way of life. And they've done it by throwing out so many different complicated issues that we're always looking at some crisis going on.
Mhm.
And we're not able to focus. The three of us right now, Dr. Mike, Colonel Mike, and myself, are focusing on what their real intent is. We
Yeah.
are exposing them, and we must tell the American people.
Dr. Mike.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. You know, Colonel, you and I have discussed many times that Soros is kind of the fount of all evil. And the one thing that we need to keep in mind that he's been very welcomed by all the leaders of Europe, the United States, Canada, all over the world. He's welcome, and he's a Nazi. He's a killer hunter of Jews. And what strikes me is that Israel must be on the same side as Soros, because they've gone after non-entities who happen to work for the Germans and got them extradited back to their prisons or whatever they do to them there. But I mean, Soros is an admitted 60 Minutes Jew killer. And he still runs this big organization. He appears to be right at the tip or the top of the globalists. He and Gates and other of these people, and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the rest of them. The real problem we have here is that the enemy is apparent. We're more at war now than we ever were, just because the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor or Hitler invaded Europe. It's time that these people go, and we keep waiting and waiting for some miraculous guy on a white horse to ride in and save us. I think we're going to have to save ourselves. And there's only one means that I can see anymore for doing that. They wipe out 6 or 7 white people and wound another 40, and they call it an accidental car crash. And you can see on the video the guy driving into these people. These people who execute these operations deserve to be shot on the site. People should go to their Christmas parades armed if it's legal in their state. It's an unbelievable situation for the United States, but it takes a certain amount of manliness to stand up to it. And except for the very few people, including the general who's risked his life on just doing this show in the last 2 years, there is a paucity of aggressiveness on the part of, if we ever needed aggressive manhood, or what they call toxic manhood, now this is it. This is unconscionable. If the anti-vax medicine doctors are correct, they're going to kill 1 billion people in this country or in this world over the next year. The time has come for some kind of an immediate response. We can't wait for Trump to keep dicking around.
Well, that's exactly right, Dr. Mike. The fact is they thwarted the one man that could have changed this whole combination. And when you mention the Rockefellers and the others, of course, they, by their own admission, have admitted, Rockefeller before he died said he was proud of it, being part of the Bilderberg group and mentioning all the mainstream media that would attend the Bilderberg meetings and wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We have rhinos. We have both Republicans and Democrats. The Democratic Party is leading this. And the one man that was stopping him was Donald J. Trump, who should not have been elected. And the reason he was elected is because he thwarted, he not knowing it, but the cyber warfare against him in 2016 was thwarted. And the reason that's important is that's why they kept saying that he had Russian assistance. And it was them that had the Russian dossier, who were doing all the things to infiltrate using our intelligence community, which has been infiltrated, is a deep state, is anti-American, and all these parts of the government, the Department of Justice, all this is hopefully will come out in the John Durham report, but all of it we know, we're just waiting for it to come out. And this has all been brought together. And so, as you pointed out, Dr. Mike, it's we the people that are going to have to solve this problem. Donald J. Trump can. He can be a great leader. He was in the process of doing it, but he did not understand it, and most people do not. Now we have, as a result of this chapter 2 on the shadow governments, we know what we're facing with this global organization with unlimited resources. They are listening to this tape as we go now. They tried to thwart us from coming on, and we were persistent, but it will be taped and it will get around, because now what you're talking about, Colonel Mike and Dr. Mike, is the real essence. We have broken the code. We know what they are trying to do, and anybody who votes for the Build Back Better legislation, any more of it, is guilty of treason, and they must understand it. They are putting in things like infrastructure that are just lollipops, that they think they're doing well. They are not. And Senator Manchin is playing a key role for the right reasons. He is being a courageous American and holding them up. But let's be careful. And Senator from Arizona, she is doing a good job. Of course, we don't know which way she'll come down.
Sinema, I think.
Senator Sinema. But we have identified the 6 states that we know that were hacked. And of course, everybody in the mainstream media, because the mainstream media is all complicit with this, will not even talk about it, to include Fox and Newsmax. And they stumbled on it the other day on Newsmax when they were talking to Bernie Carrick, and he was talking about it. And Higbee was acting like, well, he really hadn't confirmed it or that, and was surprised. But he got off the subject because and that's why you don't hear Sean Hannity or anybody talking about it except President Trump. And the reason is the mainstream media has got them, and they're going to lose those contracts. So those multi-million contracts.
General McInerney, Newsmax, it was revealed just a couple of weeks ago, Newsmax gave over $1 million to one of the Clinton Foundation deals a couple of years back. You know, everybody paid the popes, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, you know, Newsmax, I think the only guys out there is this Right Side Media or whatever it's called, Right Side Broadcasting and OAN. But for the most part, you could just, you know, chalk up Newsmax and Fox, you know.
Right.
You know, they're on the same page. Now, I just want to get back to that massacre, what is called a hate crime massacre in the dictionary up there in Wisconsin. Remember, we had that happen in Charlottesville before Trump's election to destroy Trump's reputation, the white supremacy thing and all that. And, you know, Hillary Clinton and Terry McAuliffe at the time. And you had the Homeland Security guy from Virginia at the time, Moran. You had the chief of police, you had the mayor, and it was always 24/7 in all the news media. It was a hate crime. It was a white supremacist. You know, Trump incited this riot. Trump incited this Charlottesville. That was pre-planned, well-planned to make sure that they would destroy the MAGA movement with Trump. However, that was a hate crime. Somebody died in that one. I think it was one person or two. But now this one up there, it's just, you know, he was running away from a knife fight. He was maybe running away from a CVS holdup. He could have been running away from a Louis Vuitton civil rights robbery, you know, because of the trial going down in Georgia, right? But they didn't tell you the guy's name or his race until I don't know how many days, right? Then you
Right.
had to figure that one out. It was easy to do the one in Charlottesville, which was definitely a false flag set up, and of course they're going to tell you it wasn't. But again, that allowed Dave Bratt to lose, Spanberger to get in. Remember, it was a McAuliffe Clinton operation with Soros and with Charlottesville, and they're still whining every year about, let's put another monument up, for the car crash or whatever. So we know what it is. We know what it is. We could see it. We smell it. We've been talking about it. Mike's right. At some point, you got to get out there with the flag. You got to protest. And we have to make decisions as American people. Mike, let's go back to 1861 for a minute. Is this worse than 1861 or
Oh,
18?
far worse. The Confederates meant no harm to the North. They wanted the North just to go away and get out of their southern area, and there would have been two republics in North America. This is an extraordinary situation because what they want to do, as the general said, is destroy the Constitution and the fabric of this society, and to put minorities in power, and so they can boss them around and they'll do their bidding. This also shows really what a tragedy it is of how we've taught children since 1945, because I think we all remember, or at least those of a certain age, how we were educated. We knew, for example, that the Wall Street guys and the bankers got us into World War II because World War I, they lent so much money to the Europeans or to the British and the French that they couldn't let them go under. So Wilson went to a war that was perfectly alien to American interests. And during the 30s, the New York Times and the media buried Stalin's crimes and Lenin's crimes and talked about the glories of the workers' paradise. And, it goes on and on and on. And these people have never been really Americans, but the power of American society and its unity has been able to block it till now. But between male education and the what would you call it? The pushing to make racism grow in this country, it's the natural outcome of that. And people are so stupid. They were interviewing people who were surprised that no blacks were involved when they tried to kill Rittenhouse in Kenosha, and that's the media. But it's just unbearable. I don't think there's a way out of it through legislative or electoral processes. We have to keep going for a certain amount of time on that. But the time is running very short on this. These people are arrogant, they're authoritarian, and they couldn't care less who dies in their march for power.
As evidenced by almost 800,000 dead COVID patients, they have no desire or no fear of how many people they kill, and keeping America in fear.
Yep. General, on that note, why isn't somebody telling Americans not to go to China to compete or see the Olympics? Because if Wuhan was an opportunity to get a small amount in, they can poison the entire world with the Winter Olympics. They're in charge of all the accommodations, all the hotels, the taxis, the subways, the tourist places, the restaurants, the cafeterias. It's like sending people to take a bath in whatever next disease they have and then come home.
Dr. Mike, you have just predicted the next virus, when it will break out, and its impact on the midterms. Everybody's saying that the Republicans are going to dominate in the midterms, not with another virus. And that's what's going to happen, because for that very point that the world goes to see the Winter Olympics, and that's where they're going to get it. And so you have just predicted the next virus, no matter what they call it. It could be smallpox, it could be a lot of things, but it is going to be another massive biological attack on the world, started in China for the Winter Olympics.
I regard it's going to be I would guess at least that it's going to be much more lethal. And I could be wrong. That's just one guy's opinion, but it's an opportunity too good to miss for the Chinese.
It's a course of action that we should all be aware of. I happen to think that you are precisely on. I was not going to mention it, but since you brought it up, that to me is another very, very serious course of action that we will face and the world will face because they want to keep the world in fear. And that's what the globalist intention is, to keep it in fear. And I think you're going to find those people that had the vaccination, you're going to see a higher rate of deaths with those people that have been vaccinated against COVID-19.
Yeah.
General McInerney, General McInerney and Mike, you just brought up China again and it juggled the brain. Every one of those names that General McInerney said early on, Zuckerberg, Bezos, they're all involved. These are companies that are heavily involved in China and like the idea of a communist kind of society because you have the oligarch, right? Like
they're also heavily involved with Winter Games.
With the Winter Games, right?
Yeah.
So, and General, I want to just go back for a second. There's no way a guy like Zuckerberg or Bezos gets like they do, gets as big as they do. Okay. I mean, you and I went to elementary and high school. We were around people like that. They do not get that big unless they have major players such as General Dynamics, Northrop, whoever, and people in the government, the Congress, shadow government, make them that big, make their companies into the billions and put them up there on a pedestal while they're cashing in on the stock and using them for whatever reasons. There is no way. I can't see a Zuckerberg or a Bezos get that big and to have that kind of power, and along with Gates, if you look at the Gates family, you go back, these are genocidal people from who knows when, you know what I mean? His father was all that kind of stuff. So these guys just didn't come up with some kind of unique idea like Facebook. And basically Facebook is to watch everybody. It's the NSA for the social media, you know what I mean? And then you have this Gates thing, with the Microsoft, that's another over the shoulder. Let's take a look at what they're doing. Bezos, they know everything you're buying, and majority of that stuff crap is made in China anyway. You know what I mean? So now Bezos just gave Obama $100 million. Hey, MAGA people. Hey, Trump supporters. I hope that Amazon's coming to your home today. You just gave $100 million to Bezos, and he gave $100 million just previously to who was that? Van Jones, Mike. The communist.
That's right.
The communist. He gave another $100 million a few months ago. That was a woke shakedown, General, like the old mob. It was a little extortion. Hey, if you don't give us he gave him the $100 million to Van Jones in the, I think it was in the name of Prince, the guitar player who died, the singer. The entertainer. So they usually have a title, and pretty soon Bezos will be giving out a George Floyd $100 million to Newark or somebody, you know what I mean? So yes, we have to be on high alert, as they say. But again, we don't want to discuss what solutions could be on the show. We just want to alert the people. This is breaking news from General McInerney on the Two Mics, one of the greatest podcasts on Apple to iTunes too. We're on Apple, believe it. We're on Apple, Peaches, Pumpkin Pie, and Rumble Bumblebee, So, General McInerney, we want to thank you for this. Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, you've got it. It's important that we the people know, because it is we the people that have got to resolve this. There is no knight on a white horse. As much as Donald Trump could do it for us, we hope he can, we the people must do it. And what you are doing, Colonel Mike and Dr. Mike, is invaluable to the nation. I thank you very much, and God bless you.
Hey, God bless you and your family, and you too, Mike. Is there a name of this book, or is this a movie, General? Where do we get to see this thing?
I will let you know that it was an early release, and so it's still confidential on that. But
okay,
it
sure.
out, and you both have it in your in file.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, God bless you.
Keep well, General. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dr. Mike?
Sir.
Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, I said, boy, it sounded like the echo chamber for a second. Boy, that is some breaking news. Again, General McInerney comes on.
He
Swiftly.
always has the he is invaluable to this country.
Yeah, and to the show. I mean,
Well,
listen,
yeah, and of course,
yeah,
to
no, to the country, he's aces. To the show, he's aces. I mean, you know, when we were being we were being put up on the knock report, gosh, their numbers went through the roof.
yeah.
You know, the knock report website, all of a sudden that thing got some international
Yeah.
acclaim. Would you
Are
say,
we
Mike?
still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
This is the post guest show, but
Okay.
you know, I mean, ever since McInerney came on with the hammer and the scorecard, which we broke, you know, a lot of people started, you know, looking and finding out who Knock is and Freedom First, and he's been just a great guest and a good friend. And you know him back from the days at Fox. I know him back from the days at radio with you.
Yeah. Well, we've got to find somebody like Cruz or somebody who will talk about this idiocy of letting American athletes and American parents and fans going to China. This is just incredible.
Well, you know, Mike, I'm going to send out a few things around the globe to my contacts around the globe, some posts about, you know, if your kids are going or you're going, like
Think twice.
Yeah. Scott McKenzie had that great song years ago. If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. The old hippie tune. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear. Well, now, if you're going to San Francisco, you got to wear armor just so you don't fall on the hypodermic needles, you know, and the human feces. You know what I'm saying? So, yep. Another great one. Another one in the can. Two mics. We're coming up on, I think, number 170 or 175. I understand that they're having a big party for us at Trump Hotel when we hit the 200 episodes.
As long as we pay for it, yes.
Yeah. We're having the grand 200 episode. We're going to do it live at the Trump lobby, I understand. Jeff's flying in because he likes that smoked bacon that they serve up here. He's flying in with his beautiful wife. And yes, like you said, as long as we pay for it, we can get there. And we also can get the Uber Scuba to get there too, you know?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, so let me just give you an update. I got some feedback from some of the future guests. I told everybody, hey, we'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend, holiday weekend. You know, I didn't expect to do anything today, but McInerney gave us a buzz. This was an urgent matter, and it is. So we'll get it up there. So we just want to, we didn't have a chance to say our goal guy. Mensch from the Bench is back next week. Ira, ourgoalguy.com. Ira, ourgoalguy.com. We got the My Pillow with the phone number underneath the write-up. It's Christmas time. Buy a pillow, buy two, buy some sheets, buy some towels, whatever. Okay. We hope you all had a very, very nice, happy Thanksgiving. And I hope you had some libs at the house. You could throw some digs at the libs. I told Mike this morning, I saw a guy driving a Subaru with so many Biden stickers, I was almost blinded. You know, and I think he needs a new sticker. I'm still stupid enough to keep Biden stickers on the back of my Subaru. Yeah. What is it with Subaru? It's a great company and they have a great product. But boy, did they really find some weirdos driving them. You know what I mean? It's just, I like them. I don't know if I could drive them because the people with these Biden stickers drive me nuts. You know, Harris, Biden, Harris, you know, oh my gosh. And, you know, the world's coming to the end stickers or whatever. So we're going to be talking to some farmers next week. I got another guy. I just want to, Mike, I wanted to mention too also, we don't make any money on this. The guy's not promoting us. So I'm just throwing him out there. For you guys that are really interested in the woke program, there's a book called Woke Capitalism. It's put out by a very young superstar Indian American, let's say an Indian guy born here, okay, first generation, South Asian Indian, by the way, not a Native American. Boy, we got so many things we got to say when you talk now. Well, anyway, he's got a long last name. He's from South Asia. It's called Woke Capitalism. He started a company. He's a brilliant guy. I heard him driving yesterday on C-SPAN radio. He is fantastic. If you're into the woke thing and you want to know reality, this guy is it. He has a great book out. And there's another person I heard on C-SPAN coming home, Mike, and I found out it says something about rights, but I'll put that book out for people to watch, keep an eye on it. What's wrong with rights or something like that. Yeah, what's wrong with rights? It's basically like now we got to, dissect the Constitution, because we're in 2021 and we're smarter than anybody. We're so smart, we're stupid. Okay. So these lawyers, they wrote this thing and it was on C-SPAN. It was a whole book report kind of thing. So, but if you want to buy a book, we don't make any money. He's not sponsoring us. I'm just telling you, if you're into the woke thing, I'm going to buy the book anyway. Woke capitalism, Mike. This kid's smart. You heard of this guy, haven't you?
Yeah, I heard him, but not for as long as you did. I heard him for about 8 or 10 minutes on Fox.
You could pull it up. Anybody who wants to research, you pull it up on C-SPAN radio, on XM radio, satellite radio. He was on the C-SPAN channel. It was between that and the Beatles' new movie. They did a new movie about all the old Beatle rehearsals at Abbey Road, and it's pretty good. It's an Australian guy put it together. It's like a 3-part series, and I was listening to them talk about it yesterday. So you old Beatle fans, like the old guys like we are, if you like some of that Beatle stuff, that's a good documentary out by some Australian guy named Jackson. I guess he's not related to the Jackson who like to do the duels down in Tennessee, but anyway, he must have made it before they locked down everybody in Australia, Mike.
Well, he's probably part of the movie star elite, so he gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that's like Stalin's program, yeah. As long as you do Propaganda Central. But this Beatle thing is supposed to be superstar. Anyway, my buddy, again, have a great weekend. I'll send this over to Jeff. I'm sure Jeff's is on furlough because it's a long weekend out there. And if you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. That's what we have to wait on. We have to wait on Monday.
Plug in your nose.
Well, the Mamas and the Papas comes on Monday. Monday. So we'll wait till Monday. But anyway, have a great weekend, Mike. It's windy up here. Very, very windy. We got 40, 45 mile an hour winds, trash, leaves, everything's blowing all over the place. And I'm going to have a great afternoon. I'm going to have some more pumpkin pie and apple pie. And then I'm going to have to bicycle in the wind because the calories I put on yesterday, my gosh, they look like, 5 digits. I don't know. What do you do with the abacus? It's 5 across, 3 down, whatever it is.
That's right.
Mike, God bless. Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, welcome back. This is Colonel Mike of the Two Mikes podcast. Dr. Mike's not on right now. He's a little busy. But I just want to go over a little bit of information from one of our sponsors on ourgoldguy.com. That's ourgoldguy.com. Ira. I call him the mensch from the bench. The guy's really, really well educated. He's been around a long time, over 40 years in the metals business. He had a brokerage years ago. And he's been in the business 40 years, got his MBA in finance from Michigan State in 1980, became an institutional stockbroker for 3 decades, and he owned an institutional stock brokerage. His titles have included owner, head trader, and chief compliance officer, which is pretty strong. 6 years ago, he entered physical precious metals industry to share his vast knowledge of the financial and commodities markets. Now, I joke around all the time. I call him the mensch from the bench, but in 2020, he saw a need for improving the customer service, fair dealing with customers, and adherence, which is important to our listeners, ethical standards. So he formed Advisors Metals, LLC, to disrupt the existing physical precious metals industry. Ira is the only person we know at the Freedom First Network and at Two Mikes in the industry who is registered with the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. Advisor Metals works with 3 self-directed IRA custodians, and he and his firm had to be vetted by each one, which is really good for you guys, that are listeners and buyers, okay? And IRA has had a banking relationship with a bank, major bank since 1989. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is we have 3 sponsors. IRA sponsors the network, but he also loves the Two Mikes show. So he's really interested in us giving the pure information. So what you get with IRA is knowledge. You don't get to pay the high fees for physical metals. All you got to do is fill out the form, ourgoldguy.com, gold, physical metals. All right. And he'll give you a call. He'll go over what he can do for you, what he can't do for you. And you can find out if it's worth investing. But I'll tell you what, now with the way the markets are, with the way inflation is, and maybe the government and everybody cracking down on this, you can't come out of the bank with over 600 without reporting, which is probably going to go into law. You can figure that out soon, right? Okay. You're going to want to get into metals, physical metals. Now, it's very simple. You just go to ourgoldguy.com. That's a website set up for us, for the network. But here's the big thing. You got to mention two mics. Then he knows you heard it on our show. So it's ourgoldguy.com. Mention two mics, because he's going to ask you, how did you hear it? He wants to know that whatever he's advertising, where it's coming from. So it's important. If you hear it on another show, fine, say the name. But we give him the most promo because he really likes the show. He puts a lot behind the show. He helps us out in every way he can. Okay, so come on, we got 3 advertisers, and Ira is one of our main guys advertising on our show, sponsoring our show. And, we really appreciate that. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Just from experience, we don't get to know anything about you. All he tells us is, hey, I got another person that called from 2 mics. I got another person that called. They listen to 2 mics. He tells us they like the show. They don't like the show. They like the conversation, who, what, and where. So make sure you mention 2 mics. It's ourgoldguy.com. Remember, JD Frugal, the partner in the Freedom First Network, JD Frugal, took over a year to find this guy, and I'm going to tell you, he's good to go. So remember, ourgoldguy.com, Ira, the mensch from the bench. Okay? Hey, and thanks for your time for listening.